Here to take us through all the action is Will Swanton from The Australian. Will, Hewitt may not have won last night, but at least he went down in typical fighting fashion.
So it certainly did, mate. I mean, A for effort, A for heart, A for, someone who was always going to leave, some blood and guts out on the court. It's exactly what he did. I think it became pretty clear, pretty early that Ferrer was going to get him, like we were saying a couple of days ago. I mean, Ferrer plays the running game better than most people. Hewitt has always succeeded in playing the running game back in when he was in his pomp, but he just did not have the wheels. And like we said a couple of days ago as well, if it was all down to kind of self-motivation, Lleyton would play for another decade. But the body's let him down. The body let him down again last night. He just ran out of puff. But it was fantastic theatre. There was one more tantrum for the road there at the end there, but there were some great moments when he broke back in that third set. I mean, that roar, as he said afterwards, he said that was as loud as any roar he's heard in any match he's played, and he's obviously heard a few roars over the years. So mate, about half an hour after the match, when we had time to digest it did seem like a pretty good, pretty fantastic farewell. It was a heavy defeat. But the occasion did seem to go pretty well.
Yeah, it was a special one, and even in his last ever game, Hewitt's passion was there. He was even given a code violation for calling the umpire a moron.
He was, yeah. I mean, there was one. So he was foot folded a couple of times down one end by the same linesman, which didn't go down especially well. So he vented there, but I mean that showed. I think. I mean, Lleyton's career has been back to front. The absolute highlights came in the first few years, and the last 5 or 6 years he spent most of his time on the tour playing on the backcourts. He at this tournament he gets centre court, but most of the rest of the tour that you see him play, he's out on the backcourts, and it was just his pure love of the game that kept him going. So to have one more match on centre court, and in his mind he was planning this kind of Jimmy Connors 1991 style run through the open and get the crowd involved and everything else. But like we said, the body just let him down. In the last 6 months or so.
Yeah, all right. Congratulations to Hewitt. Let's move on to last night's other matches. Bernard Tomic got the job done last night against Simone Bolelli. Do you think he's enjoying the fact more of the headlines this week are surrounding Kyrgios, allowing him to focus a bit more on his performances?
Yeah, I do. And guys, I also think we can't underestimate. I mean, Nick and Bernie have lucked out massively in that right at the time in their careers where they want to make the move into the top 10 and go deep into the majors, right when they need a kind of a wise voice for them to listen to. Now, Nick and Bernie don't always excel in taking advice from people who they don't think are qualified. But in Lleyton, they've got. I mean, it's like Rocky Balboa having that old boxing trainer in his corner. Right when they need someone in their ear, they've got Lleyton, who, as of today, his main role is to help those guys out as the Davis Cup captain. So certainly, I think Bernie is kind of enjoying Nick taking the limelight, because let's not forget that Bernie doesn't mind a bit of limelight himself. But those two guys, and I think we've seen already, because Lleyton has been doing a lot of work with Nick and Bernie, but now especially, I mean, from today, Lleyton is in their corner as their trainer, as their Davis Cup captain. And when Bernie came in last night, he was talking about how kind of inspired he gets with the effort that Lleyton puts into every match, and how he wants to take that into the next 10 years of his career. So, for Nick and Bernie, they have all the gifts in the world, all the natural physical gifts that Lleyton never had. Lleyton had certain benefits that those guys don't have. So if those two things, the mental and physical, can somehow mesh together, it's going to be a fairly formidable package for Nick and Bernie.
Yeah, now we're talking about Tomic and Kyrgios, but fellow Aussie John Millman has set up a great game after he scored a great win over Gilles Muller. Millman is in really good form at the moment, isn't he?
Oh, he is, and it's a fantastic story. I mean, he is the true tennis gypsy, as he calls himself. He spends most of the year playing lower level tournaments, and it was about 3 years ago there was a profile on him by an Italian magazine, and they kind of heard his story. And he's a very upbeat character. The Davis Cup team love having him around, because even when he's not really a chance of playing singles in that team, He just plays with a lot of heart. His progression through the juniors wasn't like Kyrgios and Tomic, where he was the superstar. He's forever been in the background of about half a dozen other guys, but he's just a supreme competitor, plays with a lot of heart, very solid, just travels the world. I mean, last night he was telling us about when he, playing some, small tournaments in Spain, and he was at Barcelona airport, sleeping in the airport, and he had to kind of hug his rackets in his bag, so people didn't flog his gear for the next match. And he said that he has often had thoughts of, why am I doing this? Why bother? But tomorrow night you'll play Bernie on Rod Laver Arena, you'd imagine. So all those years in the wilderness and not being noticed and probably not feeling appreciated, that's all going to come to an end tomorrow night, because he'll be front and centre here.
Okay, Will, just very quickly, Nick Kyrgios v Thomas Berdych, can he win? Yes or no?
Yep.
Too easy. That's what we all hope for.
And it'll be great.
Thanks for your time, Will. It's always been great to chat.
That will be. Okay, no worries.
Cheers, mate.